Okay. Whether you're a fan of Autobots or a fan of Transformers, there's no denying that there needs to be a third, I say, the next evolution, a vehicle superhero type entity. No, the Nissan Leaf, guys. All I'm saying. Shout out to the people who made commercials. I say thank you. But I was watching this yesterday, and I couldn't help but feel like, you know what? It's like minds think alike, if that makes any sense. No, I've been looking at, the last generation of Leaf. So maybe I think the 2022 to 2024 ish. It's just slightly used. With maybe 20,000 miles. You're looking at like between 19,000 to 15,000 with the higher miles. And I think that's a really, really good used car purchase. That's just my opinion. I was looking at it. And ironically, the last generation of Leaf does have the E pedal. So it's kind of weird that this new version of the Leaf, which I think looks awesome, and shout out to Nissan for having the Leaf have both charging ports. So like the last generation has the Chad port. I forget. Shout out to Chad. Shout out to all the Chads out there. But and then the J172 or whatever it is, and then now this version of the Leaf, the newest one, this one right here, has the J17 and then the North American Standard, which is the Tesla port. I'm so as a owner of an electric car, I think what car companies need to realize is now they don't need to try to like catch car owners and try to sway them over. Now there's enough people who own electric cars that aren't trying to make their electric car be like a gas engine, like an ICE, internal combustion engine vehicle. I think there's enough people that have owned electric cars over the past 15 years that now, electric cars can be appreciated for what they are. Like I like the car being quiet. I like the fact that there's no gears. I like that just constant acceleration, that constant pull. Everything about it's like I appreciate an electric car for what it is, not the fact that I'm trying to like convince myself that it's okay and that gas power cars are better. I don't believe that. I think we're gonna see a lot more electric sports type vehicles because the batteries will start to get smaller, and I think you'll be able to see maybe like an electric Miata, which I think would be sweet. It's like a go-kart. No, that's what I'm excited for. Like a electric Miata, electric Z, I think, but I think they're gonna have to do. I think they might have to wait a little bit longer. Yeah, because I don't think I think the car will be slightly too big, or maybe I'm wrong. Look, come on, Nissan, let's put out an electric Z, guys. So thank you. I watched this video and I couldn't help it. Like I wanted to comment just because I would absolutely love the new Leaf, but the last generation of Leaf I think is I wouldn't say just as good, but is good. And you're saving maybe $10,000 on the used market. You're looking at 19,000, which I think is awesome. I'm glad that finally the electric cars have been out for long enough that you can have a good supply of used vehicles that people can choose from. And then the people who like this is so nice, guys. No, I can't wait. Maybe I'll test drive one of these bad boys. Look, guys. No, okay. Thank you, guys. I love you. I'll link this video in the description. But yeah, the Nissan Leaf. I think the original one it was like really ugly, not cool at all. I probably look, if I'm honest, I'll say the last generation is kind of like that anyway. But I personally would still rock it. Look, come on, for 15,000, if you find one, maybe like 40,000 miles. I think that's a great purchase, especially for someone who's like maybe not like you're like, okay, electric cars are finally going to here to stay. If you wanted to just try it out, I think there are some great buys out there. Shout out to Carvana. My wife and I, we've purchased 3 cars through Carvana, and maybe the next one will get through Carvana too, because the experience is awesome. I do. You can't beat the convenience of having the car just delivered to your house. And I think Nissan was doing that during COVID, where you could just buy the car online and then it would just be delivered to your house. So shout out to Nissan. Shout out to this gentleman. Shout out to just being creative. Thank you for letting me be here on YouTube. I appreciate everyone. Thank you, and have a blessed day. And then like, comment, subscribe, but only if you're capable of doing so mentally or physically. Thank you.